The time is just gone 8:35 a.m. and it's time now to focus on our international story this morning. We're talking about the Uyghur Muslims. We're talking about the human rights abuses against the Uyghur Muslims. And we have learned about the UK, the British Parliament, banning the Chinese envoy from the UK Parliament over the Uyghur abuses. And we're joined this morning by Rahima Mahmut, who is a translator and a human rights activist for the Uyghur Muslims based in the United Kingdom. Rahima, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to the show.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you for having me.
Yes, wonderful that you are able to join us this morning. And we know that the Chinese government has become under increased criticism as a result of its treatment of Uyghur Muslims. And we've seen the likes of the United States of America. We've seen many countries in Europe being highly critical of the Chinese government and the treatment of the Uyghur Muslims. And looking at these latest developments where we've seen now where the Chinese envoy has now been banned from the UK Parliament.
Yes, that's correct. If you know in April when the UK government, along with EU, sanctioned 4 Chinese officials for the abuse the Uyghur rights, and immediately Chinese government sanctioned 5 UK parliamentarians to retaliate what happened. And I believe the ban was as a result of that, because the parliament has to also to show that how a country, a democratic country, to respond to such kind of unfair punishment, unfair sanctions against parliamentarians.
Yes. Now, we've also known that for a very, very long time, the Chinese government has been extremely arrogant over the issue surrounding Uyghurs, and they've adopted what is a don't care attitude, that we don't care what the rest of the world says about us or even thinks about us. We will continue regardless, and that is the reason why we've seen for far too long. We've seen the situation of Uyghur Muslims. We see, we're talking about secret camps, re-education camps. We see what has taken place over and over the years in the month of Ramadan as well. And also looking at every aspect of Muslim life that the Chinese government has been abusing the Uyghur Muslims, Rahima.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, the situation actually from the start of the occupation, especially the communist government from 1949, then during the Cultural Revolution, the religion was banned, mosques were closed, people had to pray really quietly, secretly at home. And luckily at that time we didn't have high-tech surveillance cameras to monitor, and the Chinese population was also relatively low. In 1949 was about 5%. And so mostly using the Uyghur and other local Turkic Muslims, and using them to monitor mostly. But, since the 90s, the population of the Han Chinese increased dramatically in some cities, almost 60%. And plus, we're using this sophisticated high-tech surveillance system. Uyghurs, regardless whether they were taken to camps, prisons, or whether they are at home, every 200 meters there's checkpoints that the people have to go through. Is scan your phone, and if they find any script of Quran or any kind of suspicious recently because the Uyghur script is Arabic script. And if they even suspect that the Arabic script contains some kind of religious content, immediately people are arrested and taken to camps. So my country now, the East Turkestan, we call it, is the biggest open air prison on earth. And during the last 4 days, from Friday to Monday, the second part of Uyghur Tribunal, we heard harrowing stories from fact witnesses and the experts. So the world now pretty aware about what is happening. But however, Chinese government continuously denying and trying to discredit all the witnesses, including the tribunal. So a lot of publicities in Chinese and the Global Times, baseless attacks on witnesses. So I think now the world is actually waking up to what is happening. Even many other countries and people initially followed the Chinese propaganda and believed China's account of that they are combating terrorism, but now they are on our side. But sadly, our Muslim countries are not really speaking up. Up until now, we haven't heard any condemnation from a majority Muslim countries.
Well, I think that is the sad part, as you mentioned, because I think many Muslim countries at this point in time seem to enjoy great economic relations, and it does appear as if this economic relationship overrides any concern that they would have for the human rights abuses that you speak about. But it is thanks to people like yourselves as human rights activists and people right across the entire world who care about the people of East Turkestan, who care about the Uyghur Muslims, that they are able to bring out in the open these abuses. But again, when you're talking about the Muslim countries, and we've heard this over and over again, whether it's been Pakistan, whether it's been Turkey, whether it's been Saudi Arabia, that the Chinese government is in denial. And they are denying the fact that they are committing these abuses against the Uyghur Muslims. And even with the latest reaction to the British Parliament banning the ambassador to the UK Parliament, saying that these are cowardly actions by certain certain individuals, and calling it even despicable, Sister Rahima.
Yes, that is a Chinese CCP character, and I know so well. I know so well, and they defend themselves even there is nothing to defend, and they call black white and white and black. That is the characteristic of the CCP. So we are very aware of that, but to counter that, the people who stand on the right side, on the just, that should counter it. And Uyghur people, we have suffered enough over the last over 100 years, but especially after 1949, the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party invasion. We have now more and more countries are standing against China, standing by our side. But we do need more friends. How anyone or any countries can just follow or can support China's propaganda after hearing all this, the truth from the effective witnesses, from the people who has suffered after being detained, who has many children taken away and not knowing what happened to them. um, Chinese, the character of the CCP, regardless of how they deny, how they defend themselves, the- from the start of the establishment of the Chinese Communist Party, if you read history, there's no truth in it. There's simply no truth in it. It's based on lies. The whole country, the run the country with Chinese propaganda, lies.
Well, Sister Rahima, Jazakallah for taking time out this morning and talking to us. And we have been obviously following the developments in East Turkestan for a long time now, and we will continue. And from time to time, we will remind the world about these abuses that are taking place against the Uyghur people, but also looking at discussions like these and the actions of the British government and looking ahead. Obviously, we will link up a lot more with you, and from time to time also get updates on what some of these latest developments are and what do they mean for the Uyghur Muslims out in East Turkestan. So thank you. We appreciate you taking time out this morning. Once again, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum assalam. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
That was Rahima Mahmut, translator and human rights activist for the Uyghur Muslims. He is based in the United